Hey, it's your girl, Stacy Bullock. Guess what? It's Friday. Yes, I like to coin the little phrase, free your mind Friday. But welcome to Tools for Everyday Living. We're here today to help assist and provide resources and necessary tools to help us navigate through life. As always, I always say that it is going to be a wonderful show. And that still holds true today. Today is going to be another enlightening, heart-changing, mind not fixer, but that's good too. Mind fixer, but a mind changer. Something that I feel like I can literally see wheels starting to churn and to move and have motion. But today, yes, we have a wonderful guest, and I'm going to introduce her shortly. But I just want to talk to you just a little bit, give you a little snippet, little introduction about what we are talking about tonight. How to pivot from someone else's dream to yours. In life, we have to make pivots. Pivoting in life, sometimes it can be challenging, but it's not impossible. To pivot, it simply just means to change the direction, but there are things that have to be supported while the direction in life is being changed. And there are some components in the pivot itself as an instrument that helps support the movement. What do you have supporting you when you move into who you are? See, the challenging part to this is that making everything about us pivot. Yeah. Our mind, our body, our will, everything has to be in alignment so that the flow of the new direction is smooth. Oh, I'm glad that was recorded, and I'm glad you got to hear it. Some of us are afraid to pivot. I'm gonna let that sink in just for a moment. Some of us are afraid to pivot. I can attest to that at some stages in my life simply because when we're pivoting, it's a key moment in life, a key point. Yes, somebody may have thought defining moments, but I like to spin it around a little bit and say, we define the moment doesn't define us. So don't be afraid. When there's a pivot that needs to take place, this is when things begin to turn. And sometimes turns and we run into curves. And then when we go on another turn, we don't necessarily know what's going to be around that corner. So it can, make you a little nervous, but it's okay. I was just talking to the guest, but backstage saying I felt a little nervous about this show. So that meant I'm always nervous about the shows, but sometimes they're the more intense nervousness. And that lets me know that, first of all, this is not us speaking to you. Yes, you see us in physical form, but we have been gifted as we made our pivots in life and we found our way to our purpose. That's what happened to me. I had to make several pivots. You can make it simple and call them adjustments. Big or small, life is going to require us to make some adjustments. We have to make some alterations in places that we probably don't want to make them. When you take something to the seamstress or the person who sews clothes, I'm not sure exactly what the title is, but that individual has to now cut away or add something to make this garment fit the client. And as the seamstress is making the alterations, the adjustments, then it's getting it to a point where it's going to have a perfect fit. Somebody should be standing up clapping right about now. That was really good. However, in the event that we choose not to grow, or I say it like this, you declining to grow, for whatever the reason, know that you're making this choice that is definitely going to keep you in the same place. So if you're thinking that, I want to make some changes in my life, but if you don't move, if we don't pivot, if we don't take the opportunity to change direction, sometimes we are find ourselves in a state that can be stagnant. But we're going to leave that for another show because that sounded like a really good title. The state of stagnation. We don't want to be there. And I'm so happy, so happy that tonight my guest is someone who is taking a pivot in life. And she is agreeing with who she is because you know what? While we're here to create and develop in a movement of change, consistent change in our life. And it's how you look at it, whether it's going to be for the good or the bad. Your choice. But let's get back to my guest. I'm going to introduce her in an unusual way. I'm so happy when you are prepared and ready and you ask them for things and they show up with it, and it shows up in a fantastic way. So, ladies and gentlemen, she's been on the show before, but I am going to introduce her this way.
My name is Andre Lee.
Who she thinks she is?
But you can call me
Pressure.
Miss Dre, the poet.
Who she thinks she is? Pressure. Flexer. Who gon' check her? Nobody. Tester. Bless her. Make you respect her.
I'm a mother of 4, 3 sons, 1 daughter. I also have a granddaughter. I am a case manager for a local community organization that help house the homeless. I'm also a professional chef. My grandfather was also a chef, so was in my family. My grandmother was a cook. We always have big cookouts. She was amazing. Love my grandmother. I love to cook. It's therapeutic to me. And my friends always come over. We have a good time over a nice, good meal, good company. I also write. It was my escape my whole life. My dad was a poet. He was a writer. Poetry is something different and fun for me. So I used to write, and I really didn't want to get on the stage or read my poems in front of anybody. At first, my attitude was, they could just read it. It was important to show your emotions. It's because people can relate to you. You never know who you can help, with your words or get through certain things in their lives. I always believed that my story was unique until I learned that a lot of people went through a lot of things that I went through in their lives.
Pressure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Drea, the poet. Welcome, my sister.
Thank you so much for having me again. I really appreciate your platform and everything you do for the community. You always show up with this beautiful smile that you always have. And you're so welcoming, so I appreciate you.
Yes, the sentiments are ditto. I love it when we can come together and we can have dialogue that helps other people in their life's journey.
Yes.
I mean, when we show up and who we are, there's nothing that can stop us. We just keep winning. And that's why this behind me says to train your mind to win on a daily basis. And you're proving that
Yes.
every day, that when you train your mind to win, you can do it. You can do it. There may be some obstacles, some hurdles, but hey. And with that being said, let's just start right out with, tell us some personal. We don't got to get too personal, but personal part of the journey in transitioning for supporting. Fr- transitioning from supporting someone else's dream to now focus on supporting your own dream, taking that pivot, that point where things need to make a change, but there has to be something under it that supports it. So tell us how you support yourself in this journey of transitioning.
Just making sure I show up for myself every day, not as my representative, not as someone else, just the authentic Andrea Lee. And I also pour so much into other people, and I want to also do that for myself. Like in my video, I said, like, I write, but I was like, they could read it, And so everybody was like inviting me to places to show up on a mic, to do different things. And I was like, well, hey, I'm here. I should just start doing these things. And what really pushed me was when I auditioned for with diverse verses, and I had to really buckle down and get over myself and just memorize my poem and just do it not only for myself but other people that look like me. I have to practice what I preach. I believe that's very important, and a lot of times we don't do that. So I just want to thank everybody at Diverse Verses for giving me this chance and believing in me. Paul Philosophy, everybody there. Larry Love is a great supporter. Shaquan, Queen Kwani, Carlton the Messenger, Saint Ice, LA Poet Society, Jessica and Juan. I just have a diverse team, of people that's very encouraging and supportive
Mhm.
around me. And when you meet people like yourself, Stacy Bullock, it's very warming, and it makes you feel like really
Mhm.
great, and you just floating, and it's like
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
it's my time. So
Right, right. So when you just said that, I'm just floating. It just really, I felt it, and
mhm,
I hope the listeners and viewers did as well. But when we are, I'll say, floating in a flow,
mhm,
in my opinion, that just gives us, I'm seeing like a stream just flowing.
mhm,
And there's, even though there's rocks in the way, there's some branches and some things that fell over in the water, and the water sometimes may even run a little rough,
mhm.
but it's still flowing.
Yes.
It's still going to where it's going. And I believe when you talked about floating, I felt that, if I could describe it and help us to see it, what it looks like, what we can imagine when we get in this flow of who we are. And
Yes.
as you said, showing up as authentically as you. But we know that there's challenges.
Yeah.
So how do you make those into excuse me, changes? Challenges bring changes, and that's a pivot. How do you handle that?
So my whole thing in my life, I've never been afraid of anything but being broke. So I am a workaholic, right? But how can I nurture any of my talents or my gifts if I'm trying to make someone else's business successful while I'm miserable, right? So no matter how good of a job you do, no matter how many times you're on time, no matter how you go above and beyond, they don't appreciate you. So I said I had to do something for myself. I was feeling like I never get sick, I never get discouraged, and I was feeling really bad, and I just had to take time off for myself. So I end up injuring myself, then I had to take off work, and I just start writing and going into my computer and finding these different things that I wrote and putting my books together and just turning my pain and trauma into something great, like a book, right? A poem. Going to different shows and different communities and just aligning with different people. The most important thing that helped me was meeting great women along the way, like Ravina Wanwani, uh, Jessica Wilson, a lot of different women like yourself, Stacy Bullock. Like, we just have that same spirit. Like, we want to help, we want to give back, we want to do more. And I really truly appreciate having other strong women, that support you. I think that's important.
Very,
Hmm.
very important. But I hope people, I like to point out things when my guests are talking, and because I want people to hear and get a bigger understanding of what I heard you say in the beginning when you talked about an injury. But an injury caused you to change. The injury caused you to pivot, to
Yeah.
make some adjustments in life. But in that pivot, you were still productive.
Yes.
You were given an opportunity to do life different,
Yeah.
even though there was an injury, even though there was something that was painful. And I'm gonna just stop right there because I could feel myself just continuing to go, go, go. But we're gonna go um, to a commercial, and I heard one moment that you talked about. But when we come back, let's talk about any moment specifically that you chose, as I said earlier, to define that moment and not let that moment define you. Because I know there's some things in your background that could have shaped you another way, but you decided to define it. But we're going to be right back.
Okay.
I promise y'all, we ain't going to be going long. See you in a minute.
I'm Stacy Bullock, and I'm committed to waking your power to bounce back quickly from life's challenges. I've learned there is power in resilience. There was a point in my life when I closely identified with the Sade song, Soldier of Love. Mostly what I identified with was the part that says, I've lost the use of my heart, but I'm still alive. Doubt, disappointment, rejection, it left a stain on my soul. But that's the place where our determination lives. And that's the place where we have to dig in and find resilience so that we can bounce back. I have taken all of that disappointment and despair, and now I use it as a catalyst. It has become my energy to fight, to become a better, a stronger human being every day. Why do I do this? 2 reasons. So I can help you understand that you can become better, and that you can become stronger, and then you can survive any situation. The second reason is because I was born to do it. I am a transformational speaker who can help you know that there is power after pain.
Every day, living tools for every day, living tools for every day, living every day.
There is power after pain. Whew, that was almost perfect because we were talking about how an injury can produce and make you become productive if we are willing to make the necessary changes. In those moments that we get some realization, something happens that causes us to say, wait a minute, I need to make a change. Tell us about, I know there's more than a few moments, but just tell us how you kept moving through the moments.
Well, I didn't really have good parenting, right? So my situation with my mom was like I never wanted to know anyone's mom. I didn't care. Like I didn't have a mom, so it wasn't important to me. But I wasn't gonna let that bitter me or make me angry or upset. So everything she told me I couldn't do, I was always trying to do it or do more, just do so much. And I said, I can't keep living my life like that. I have to do it for myself. I have to do it for the other little girls like me and show them that they can do it and be something regardless of what someone tells you. So I wrote this book titled The Power to Change the Way to Love Yourself. Like, how do we love? Where do we learn this love from? So if I didn't have a mom that loved me, I didn't have a dad that loved me, where did this come from? So how could we develop this self-love, right? And I go through the different stages of love. Some people learn it from their parents, either traumatizing or like really, great, a love experience, or you have siblings, and then you might have a friends at school. You get a little boyfriend or girlfriend, you think you in love. You get married, and things like that. And it's different types of love. It's also um, people that have trauma bonds and they believe they're in love, but they're connected through trauma, right? So we have to unlearn these things. So, how could I tell you that I love you and I don't love myself? How could I show up for you every day if I don't show up for myself, right? If I don't
Right.
take care of me, how can I take care of you? So, just relearning that, the fairy tale love. And that's, I think,
Mm.
one of the worst ones because we live in this fantasy in our head. Well, he smiles at me this way, he does this, so he must love me. He hits me so that, he's upset, but he loves me. So just taking that away and trying to find love and sit with ourselves and be comfortable with being alone. I have fun with myself. I have a good time. I love my company, right? And you have to be able.
You have to. That is number one on the agenda because you'll never leave you.
Exactly.
We'll always be with us, and we have to become, or as the word software always corrects me and say, we must start a journey that includes us laughing, us
Yes.
having a good time. There's so many times when I put a sign in my kitchen on purpose, and it says the kitchen is made for dancing. And
Yes.
sometimes there's a song that might come on because I'm playing music in the house, and that moment, listen to this really good people. That moment, it is a moment. That's all we get, and that's for good, and that is for bad. So if it's something that's happening negative, turn this into a transformative moment.
Yes.
There are times when we just transform if we allow ourselves to transform, if we want to focus on our own aspirations. Sometimes I don't know if we really want to focus on our own aspirations. This question just popped in my head. So, have you ever been afraid to embark on your own aspirations?
Yes. It's been plenty of times, like starting my own business for one, not asking for help, because you don't want someone to say
Mm.
no, or you don't want to get up that power,
Mm.
learn through my life, everybody needs somebody. I had a contract with Amazon to cook for them for a week, and I didn't ask anyone to help me. So when we get to the studio, I had to pull a food cart up the hill that almost fell
Mm.
several times. A
Wow.
learning experience. Now they love the food and everything, but I was out of breath and I was tired. But I
Yeah.
put on a face like everything
Mm-hmm.
okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just
Mm-hmm.
entrusted my friend Andrea Wilson, that's always there for me. Everything that I do, she shows up, but she had to tell me,
Mm.
Andrea, you're doing too much. Pick two things, just two, and stick with that. And the
Wow.
things were cooking and poetry. And it's
Yes.
been really working. I was all over the place, but you need people to tell you the truth. And sometimes
Yes.
you don't have that. And
Sometimes you don't have that.
I love and appreciate her for that because she always tells me the truth.
Yeah, it's so important. That's always at the top of my list. When I say, do you want to change? Do Stacy, do you want to change? Well, you have to be honest with yourself. Just was it this morning? No, yesterday morning. Um, I woke up, thank God. And I knew I was supposed to get up and do something. But I was like, oh, I've been up doing this, doing that. And I wanted to pull the covers back up. And I did for a moment. And as soon as I did, the words that came to me said, come on, Stacy, you have to instill some discipline right here, right now, in this moment. I had to make a transformative decision. And I think, yeah, I could have stayed in the bed. Nobody was going to stop me from staying in the bed. I was the only person in control of that. And you were telling us about that moment when you were pulling that cart.
Yes.
How did that transform your thinking for your next event?
I felt defeated at first, but I knew I had to keep going. I couldn't,
Hmm.
turn back. But my next event, I called Leandria. And I said, Leandria, I need you. And that's hard for me. It was super hard. Because I don't like to ask for help. I don't want to feel like a burden to anybody. And so it took everything in me to ask her. And when I remember the phone call like yesterday, just hello, girl, she like say something. How did the event go? So I'm explaining it to her and everything, and then we talk, and she was like, well, when I'm not working, I can help you. I can do this and I can do that, and she did. She's a great manager. We worked together at a facility with that housed teenage girls in the system, and we never had an issue with the girls. We ran programs, everything. So I knew that she was capable of doing the job because we worked together. We never ever had an argument in our friendship. We vacation together, everything. She's the perfect sister I never had. So love her.
Isn't it? It's great to have those. It's
Yeah,
great to have those. I was raised as an only child, so I didn't have sister or brother.
yeah. So
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh, okay. So she came in and saved the day
yeah.
again.
So now I have staff. She manages, my different events. I can leave. Everything's taken care of. She makes sure everything is clean. We don't have any issues. Clients are always happy. So it's great. And then with poetry, I had a lot of issues with different people want to be in charge or they don't know anything. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I know everything, right? But I've been doing this, so just bumping heads and then bad business. So then I met Larry Love and his wife, amazing. I was like, where have you guys been?
Yes, they are. They are the epitome. If there were a poster child of, and I know they're not perfect people, but they certainly have things in order
Yes,
with them, and the way they conduct themselves. And I'm just, yeah, real appreciative of them as well.
yes, and it's a few couples, Jessica and Juan from LA Poet Society. Um, just always a great experience when working with them. I was just telling them that today. And you have to tell people, like, give them their flowers like now because they might not know. I appreciate you. I love the work you're doing. I love the inclusiveness, right? We're all in this together. And it's not just one community. The community is broad, right? So we have to get out and expand that. And some people just don't do that. We stay stuck. We stay
Right.
stuck in our
And
past, stuck in
right.
our head, right? And we're afraid to pivot, like you said. We're just here, living day by day. But what made me change is I was on the phone doing supervision with a supervisor at one of my jobs. And I just start twitching my head, and I never get a headache. And my head just start hurting, like all right here. And I told her I can't do this. Like, I'm frustrated. I have 35 clients, and it's not, we only supposed to have 15. It's not fair that everybody is quitting, and then everything is put on me, and this paperwork's not done, and this is, and that's not my fault. So that's when it was like, I can't. So this is it for me. And I said, I just have to do something I love, because I can't continue to work. Just, I don't care how much money it is. If I'm not feeling well and I'm stressed out, it's time for me to go. So that was, it was difficult, because the,
Right.
comes on time. Every 2 weeks, they hit your bank account. You got the benefits,
Right.
401k.
Right.
So
Those things that lure us in. And you know what? That was, thank you. That's a perfect segue to the question. I'm gonna see how I can formulate it. But the word is self-confidence.
yes,
So if you don't have that, how do you look in the face of something that is causing you to have an experience, even in your body, as it stresses you out, and
hmm
you know you need to walk away? But how do we gain the confidence to do that? And when we come back, Miss Andrea, the poet, is going to tell us about how we gain the self confidence to do that. We'll
yes.
be right back. You are uniquely you. Wow. I don't know who's picking these commercials today, but they seem to have a be in the flow of what's being said and what we're talking about. But we ended on, tell us how you believe self confidence plays a role in us being able to go after our dreams.
For me, not caring about what other people think, or their opinion. This is my life. So I can't be concerned about how they feel. I have to walk this path for myself. So I feel like every day I wake up, I am at cause over my life. I'm going to speak this to existence. And if it's something that I want, I'm not going to take no for an answer, or I'm going to get the education behind it to learn what I need to learn and build a team around it until we're successful. But just having that confidence when I step in the room, I'm not uncomfortable around anybody. It could be a million people from a different race. I'm still going to be me. Hi, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. And just talk to people, right? We have to stand in who we are all the time. And sometimes that's hard for people. But I just enjoy working with, good people, sharing, different things or ideas, similarities and things like that. So, not caring.
Right, right, right. That kind of, when you said not caring, I don't know why It just the word unstuck just popped up right in front of me like big bold letters. That will get you to a place of being unstuck. And I was gonna ask you, well, what would you say to somebody that feels like they're just stuck? They don't have the self confidence to move anywhere, not even up in a job. I know people who have been employees of the same company for over 30 plus years, and they think that's a good thing that they've been at the same level for the last 25. I'm like, that's not good. I would not tell anybody that. So what would you say to somebody that, you feel, if you feel stuck, what advice again would you give them?
I would just tell them that, like, where do you see yourself a week from now, a month from now? Do you plan on having a family? Do you think you can survive off what you're doing now? Are you afraid? Do you want to do something different? What are your talents? What do you want to do in this company? How are you being treated? At my job, I was always the one to speak up for everybody. I have to tell them, no, this is your concern. You have to speak for you. You feel this way. I don't. I feel something different. And I say it. You can't be afraid to lose a job. You have to know that they need you as much as you need them. And when
Exactly.
you change that mindset and you walk in a room like, I belong here. But I had a job. I started working there when I was 23. I quit several times. They kept hiring me back because I was a good employee, right? So they didn't have any programs. I created a proposal for myself. I would do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but I would like you to give me this title and this raise. And I did that at that job 4 times until I got to a position where it's no more, it was just stuck, and I was just like, okay, it's time. It was time for me to go. After I did, and everybody, how did you get a raise? How did you do that? I talk for myself and I fight for myself. Is something wrong on my paycheck? Is this 5 cents missing? Excuse me. I worked for this. And how come she's getting the raise and I'm a manager and I've been here, which people shouldn't talk, but they do.
Right. That's my thought.
So yeah.
So it sounds like in you making sure that you continue to create your path, your self confidence just pushed you into now what I would consider self discovery.
Yes.
That you have discovered these things about yourself, and now what? So, what? Tell us now what, and then we're gonna take a break. But when we come back, I gotta make sure we got enough time to hear your poem. We're gonna go right ahead and jump into some poetry
Okay.
when we get back.
Yes, ma'am.
But first, we need to talk about. We just hold up. Wait a minute. We just talked about something, that the self discovery part. You've discovered these things, so tell us about what does it look like you making these self discoveries along the way, and how do you just keep going? Then we go into a commercial. Then when we come back, we're gonna go right straight into poetry.
Okay. Knowing what I can't do, right? Knowing when to ask for help. I know I can't sing, you know. I know I can't cook. I know I can't draw. I know I can write. I know that if I put my mind to something, I can do it. But it's things that's beyond me. So I can write this children's book, but I need someone to create the drawings for it, to bring it all together. So in everything, we need a team. And I had to learn that. You have to have a good team with talented individuals and bring all those people together. So when you need that or they need something from you, we're there to help each other along the way, to build each other up and make us better and stronger together. And I think that's very important. And a lot of us forget that because we want to be the center. I don't want to be that. I don't want to have control. I want to celebrate everybody and bring out their talents. You can do it. I'm always a cheerleader.
Right.
You know.
I wrote down this about you, and as soon as I stopped talking, go ahead and introduce your poem. But I wrote down you always want to share with someone else.
Yes.
Always want to share. So go ahead on and share your gift.
Okay. My poem is titled Us. They labeled us, branded us, abused us, used us, owned us, separated us, mistreated us. In my lifetime, I have never been mistreated, disrespected, turned on, abused, used, cursed, put down, or led astray by no one other than my own race. I never knew what hate felt like. The betrayal, the envy, the jealousy, the disregard, the lies, the backstabbing, the mistrust, the misleading, and it all came from us. I was taught that they were the bad ones. They were the racist ones. They were the ones that disregarded me, put me down, lied on me, backstabbed me, betrayed me. I'm not saying that there aren't some racists out there that don't like me, but I have never been in a situation where I have to face fear in front of them. It's always been us. The nightmares walking, the psychopaths talking, the rapists, the child molesters, my mother, my own mother, y'all, my father, my sister, my coworkers, us, my own race, were the people that looked like me, turned on me, disregarded me, raped me, beat me, betrayed me, lied on me, gave up on me. But never, never have I ever given up on us. I still love us, fight for us, stand up for us. I am one of the just ones that's going to change the stigma about us. All it takes is just one of us to change how we think and feel about us, how we love us, how we connect with us, how we treat us, how we care for us, how we are there for us, how we build with us, how we value us, how we support us, how we are loyal to us, how we show up for us. It is time for us to control the narrative, change the stigma about us. No more nightmares, no more tears, no more fear. Build trust in us. And that's my piece.
Woo! Yes.
Have you found yourself wondering, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Recognizing the stranger in the mirror is the book for you. It helps us to unravel the mystery of who you really are, revealing your life's passion and why you should unveil the real you to the world. We need you. You are valuable and necessary for those who are connected to you. Do not be afraid to peek in and discover all your gifts and talents to share. It's real freedom when we reveal our authenticity. Stacey Bullock is a 2-time best-selling author, transformational speaker, and host of Tools for Everyday Living TV show. She is committed to igniting resilience, personal transformation, and building life skills of her audiences and clients. The author of 2 previously written self-help books, Beaten Oil and Regain Power Through Resilience, Don't Let Your Brain Go Numb. Stacey imparts lessons that teaches readers to utilize their light as a guide for others and discovering inner strength and resiliency to bounce back when life throws curveballs. Stacey may be reached for speaking engagements, leadership and employee training, and life skills coaching via her email at stacy@powerandresilience.com.
Letter, we can use it in making something. So service is servant, excellence, resilience, victorious, imparting, consistently compassionate, and exceptional. That's service. We take on the servant mentality and have an excellent way to be able to produce it, but we're going to need some resilience.
We're gonna need some bounce back because somebody gonna come and try to diminish what you were doing or saying. But we like, oh, the life is gonna show up and we might get, wobbled a little bit. But then in our resiliency, we become victorious. And then we are able to impart something in somebody that actually will help. And we can be consistently compassionate with anybody because everybody in this room may not have had the same challenges, but I tell you what, we've all got in common. We have felt pain, disappointment, rejection. All of us, we've felt it before. No matter how big or how small, we all know what it's like. So we all know what it's like to need to have compassion given to us. So now we can say, you know what? Let me be compassionate.
All right. I hope we are all being compassionate in our daily movements and the things that we are doing in everyday life, paying attention. And when we know that we have a purpose and we know that we have a goal and we begin to move forward towards it, when things come to us and want to bring us resistance and bring some skepticism, there's a favorite passage of scripture that I love, and it's 1 Corinthians 16:9. And it says that God has a great work for me to do, but there are those who oppose me. So tell us, Andrea, in pivoting, how do you keep on making the decisions, the right decisions, to stay focused on your goals when you know that there's something there that's trying to stop you from moving forward?
I kill the outside noise, the negativity. I always try to stay positive, turn on my little Kirk Franklin, and just listen and try to meditate and write down my goals. And I'm always writing and encouraging others. So I teach anger management, which also helps me, and I also teach parenting. And I'm always encouraging and uplifting. And we have this one exercise where you write apology letter to yourself, forgiving yourself for all the things that you felt that you did wrong to yourself, all the mistakes, and letting people know that it's okay. We're human. And at the end of the letter, you put love, Andrea, who's ever writing it. And then it's another mirror exercise where you look in a mirror, and I practice this too, and you just tell yourself how proud of yourself you are, that you can do this, and list all of the achievements that you made, small, they don't have to be big. Sometimes getting out of bed in the morning is something big for a lot of people. So I let them know that even some the mothers, like, it's you have to change, the way you think and look at the perspective of your child. I understand that you're the mom and you do everything, but in your tone, your facial expression, sometimes you have to soften up, and you have to understand when you were an 8-year-old, you were a 13-year-old, we still want to have respect. And one of my clients, she was like, well, they just don't clean up the way I clean up. Stop right there. Exactly. They're not you. They're never going to be you. They're not going to catch up to your age and your experience. So you can't expect you from anybody else. And I had to learn that. My friends always tell me, Andrea, I'm not you. Or people are not like you, like you're different. Right. And I'm like, I'm not. You can do it. I believe in you. And one of my friends, she told me that she had to get to the point where she believed in herself, and she understood that I wanted all these things for her, but she had to get there herself. And then just to understanding people, right? And listening to understand and not always to respond. And that's hard for some people. Not, you don't always have the answer. People don't always need you to fix them. They just need you to listen to them and just be there for them.
Right. Let them know they're being heard and seen.
Mhm.
And you just, the next question was some resources and strategies that you use, but you gave us a couple, your writing.
Mhm.
We have to understand that the things that were given to us, our
Mhm.
gifts, the words coming to me, they're our freedom tools.
Yes.
So if you write, write. If you sing, sing.
Mhm.
If you play an instrument, play. If you cook, cook. If you braid hair, braid hair. If you read to others well, go read to somebody else. I always say that if you feel like you're having a hard time, go help somebody else.
Yes.
Go help somebody else. We, as usual, time is always flying, but I want to give you ample time to let the people know what's coming up next. We saw a little snippet of it at the end of your introduction, but I'm excited. I want you to tell us more about February 17th.
I have a lot of things going on this month. So February 10th, my first release on my publishing company, Shaquan, Writing Journey 101, Queen Kwani, book release is February 10th. Myself and Larry Love produced a show, Kings and Queens of Poetry Plus Music, and that is March 17th. But before that, we have the Pan African Film Festival that's hosted by Diverse Verses, and that is February 17th. And it's going to be at the Crenshaw Mall at 6 p.m. Tickets are $20, so come out and support. It's 16 or more amazing poets, writers, entertainers. So it's important. So I believe support is everything. Come out and support us in what we do. LA Poet Society, I have an event with them this month. And also another great poet, Fernando, he puts on a show in Glendale, and I'm performing there. So there's so many things that's going on this month, and I'm so excited to share my talents and gifts with the community and see all the other wonderfully talented people share theirs. As you can reach me at Miss Drea the Poet. So it's ms.drea _ the poet. And also, June 28th is my book release, and I'm releasing my book, The Power to Change the Way to Love Yourself, which also includes an anthology with 100 different writers, including Stacy. So we're all going to be in the anthology talking about the way we love, any type of love, or you can write a poem, a short story, or a chapter.
Wow. That
Oh,
was,
I also have
yep,
a
go
children's
ahead.
coming out. It's called Cooking with Little Chef Lee and the Culinary Kids. I love cooking with kids, so I'm going to start doing that again and having a series with kids with Jessica and Juan's kids from LA Poet Society. We're going to do a cooking series. Their kids are Soul and Luna, so beautiful and so smart, and they behave, so I love them. I love working with well behaved kids, and they're so smart. So
Right.
it's just a lot of great things. I work with a time friend of mine, Daryl Sewell. He's in mental health, where I teach the anger management and parenting. So we've been doing some different things together. And congratulations to him again. He just got married to his beautiful wife, Shantae. She also works in BDIPS. So it's something just great. I've been knowing him for 20 years, working with children and social services. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
great year, great things.
Yeah. So, and I believe you said you were using a book by an author by the name of Stacy Bullock.
Yeah, so Stacy has an amazing book that I actually use in my class that really helps my students. And I was telling her, I cannot find it right now, it's in my drawer. I was telling her that I want to get some people to donate some of her books. So we're going to buy probably 20 to 50 books so we can put in a library that we're going to have in Paramount for our different programs. And I think it's important that the parents and teens are able to read her book and just share, just you have to look at yourself in the mirror. And I think that's important. And we don't do that a lot. Self reflection. We're so stuck in ourselves. Well, I'm better and I'm good, but everybody doesn't always like what you give. So I really like constructive criticism. I like for my friends to tell me the truth, just don't sugarcoat it. right? I think that's very important. So, recognizing the stranger in the mirror is the book. And also, um, I work with Mr. Anderson, who trains you in anger management, Anderson and Anderson. And so I'm reading the EQ Edge. And I think that's important for people. It's taught me a lot, and I also use that in my classes, but you have to check out Stacy Bullock's book.
Yeah, that EQ is something else. That emotional intelligence. I know that doesn't stand for that, but it
Mhm.
falls in that
Yeah,
same
so we teach
family.
emotional
And
intelligence in Gaining Control of Ourselves by Mr. Anderson.
mm-hmm,
The book that I
yeah.
teach out
So
of.
if we could keep these things intact and take some of the lessons and some of the tools that we heard today, writing, your gifts, your talents, you know, it says they'll make room for you, and that's just not in profit.
Yes.
It'll make room for you to be free.
Yeah.
It'll make room for you to be exactly who you are. I've heard a lot of poets say that if it wasn't for poetry, they don't know where they would be, because they are just, thank you, because they are able to release these things that want to keep them bound and make them feel like they can't be who they really are. So I'm so appreciative of you coming, Andrea. You're just a jewel. We are so thankful here at Tools for Everyday Living for us having not just a friendship, but a sisterhood.
Yes.
So thank you. And let me tell y'all something. We'll be back next Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us on Tools for Everyday Living.
How we see ourselves makes a difference in how we treat ourselves, which dictates how we allow others to treat us. When we think of self, we should be sure to think of our character, our nature, and our distinctive personality. Seeing yourself in a wonderful light says you appreciate you and everything about you. Are we perfect? No, but we are valuable and necessary to the world. Valuing our correlation to who we were created to be will have a tremendous effect on the care we give to ourselves. Self-care is essential, and it can change how we navigate through life. It can cause us to grow, develop, and cultivate who we are. Showing up in our splendor and authenticity will be our greatest reward.